Hey there, it's BJ, and I am a leadership coach slash corporate refugee. And I started leadership coaching because I saw the need for so many employees to level up their mindfulness and their mental strategy. And I'm here to start a conversation with you all about how to achieve the best mindset for work so that you can have all the results come true that you want and be just a happier employee. And I'm here with Sirat Babbar, and she is like-minded, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to start talking about mindset strategies. Sirat?
Thank you so much, BJ. I'm so excited to be partnering with you on this. Just a little bit about myself. I run transformational projects that digitize the way organizations work. It helps them become more efficient, and it helps them also to respond quicker to changes in the business environment, something that's so valid today. And I've had a very unconventional career path because I worked in different roles across different industries. I was a business analyst at one point in telecommunications industry, and then I became a program manager in banking, and then I went into risk management, and now I'm in retail. And, I really enjoyed all of my past roles. But at a certain point in my career, when I didn't feel as passionate about the roles that I once did, I knew I had to change something. And making a change in any aspect of your life, it's pretty rewarding, but it's also very daunting because it comes with a fair bit of uncertainty and the fear of really not knowing what's ahead. So having the right mindset and having the right mindset strategies that we'll talk about in a little bit have really helped me think differently about my situation, especially on the days where I didn't feel like I was getting the results I wanted. It really impacted these mindfulness strategies on how I assessed my situation in that moment and what I decided to do in the next steps. So excited to talk to you about that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I agree. I was in several industries as well, and I never found one that was perfect. I never found a role that was perfect. I always felt that there was challenging politics to deal with. And the only thing that I could really do in those moments to change the results I was getting or enjoy the career I was having is to level up my mindset. And I think it really starts with being brave and developing some self-awareness. And I think you and I both agree that self-awareness is the first place we need to start. And we can talk about what that looks like later, but I definitely want to hear what you do to have those strategies to keep yourself empowered and feeling good. So what do you do to feel better about working and the stuff that you're doing and you're achieving?
Yeah. I love what you said. I mean, it's, at the end of the day, all the industries kind of morph into, they're very similar. And, especially in today's world, people are looking to pivot into different industries and different roles. And it can be quite a lot, honestly. So I agree. And one of the things, actually, I have 5 tips that I do, and we'll get into it. The first tip, I think, is for me is to do an internal check-in. It's very easy to tune out the uncomfortable feelings, either by drowning in too much work or overindulging in chocolate cake, which is my favorite. But we do take the time to do an internal check-in. Give yourself the respect to feel through the emotions that you're feeling. Go on a walk, meditate. Usually for me, connecting with nature and meditating are the best sources of doing an internal check-in. And the answers usually come to me in stillness. So that's the first thing I do. The second piece is, thinking about your situation in a non-victimized manner. It's easy to become bitter or feel victimized if you didn't orchestrate a change that happened to you. Especially now with COVID, a lot of people are losing their jobs or being on furlough and such. So just know that you are the conductor of your life, and you have the power to choose your thoughts and how you respond to situations. That kind of ties in with the mindful and the meditation technique that I mentioned before. The third thing, and the most important thing, is the ego check. We're all kind of obsessed about how others view us and how our change in status could make us look good or bad in others' eyes. But the fact of the matter is that, others rarely think about us just because just like you and I, they're thinking about themselves. So it's really important to understand that people don't control your life, you do.
Mm-hmm.
My Fourth important thing is to own the now. I'm very a big believer of being present in the moment and really owning the situation that you're in. It might not be what you want at the moment. You know, you might be reporting to a peer, your job might have changed, you might be under furlough, you might be laid off, but you need to make sure that you take the power back from feeling like you don't have a say in this. You got to make peace with who you are and where you are at this moment. And once you own it, you really can create that space for your new reality while you figure out what your next steps are. And my last, fifth strategy here is to not be fooled by your failure, right? At the end of the day, we sometimes don't get the results that we want, or there are times that we are worked our hardest and we have not really gotten the feedback that we were looking for. That is okay, because as long as you learn something from it, that's not a failure. That's just a way to level up the next time.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of failing fast and failing forward. So I agree with all of your 5 strategies. And when I think about taking the time to process as a coach, what I would, echo that my clients do is to notice their lenses that they're thinking through. Like, are they thinking through a positive lens or a negative lens? And choose the purpose of the lens that you do want. So that just starts to create that self-awareness. But that's a really good strategy, is to, really hone in on taking time to process where you're at. But I like to think of it as like lenses that we see the world through, and really pay attention in a positive or a negative way, because they do affect the outcomes you have, either one of those. Also, I was thinking about this thing about victimization, and the way I notice and the way I coach my clients to recognize victimization is that you start blaming. You start blaming the company. You start blaming the people at work. You start blaming, your spouse. But that right there is a tip that you're acting as a victim, and you are so powerless in that type of role. So pay attention to victimization through the language of blaming people and blaming others. And then checking your ego. I would love to have a conversation with you about this. I think ego shows up all the time in the workplace. And for me, it shows up in the format of sabotage. We sabotage ourselves when our ego is more upfront than our own true nature. So we should definitely do a deep dive with our audience about self-sabotage habits that show up in the workplace. And one of my techniques I tell people to do is, you brought it up briefly, and it's like, notice your thoughts. So I have a whole strategy around thought management, and we should definitely go through that framework one time when we have time, because thoughts create all of our emotions.
Yep.
Those emotions will create the behavior.
Yep.
And that behavior creates the result we get. And if we don't get that in check, if we don't be aware of those thoughts, we will definitely spin in this cycle. And if you ever feel yourself spinning, it's because you're not in control of your brain. You're not in control of those thoughts. So those were 5 amazing strategies. And I will recap those strategies with the to-do for each one of those. And people can download those right below this conversation that we're having, so they have something to take away.
Thank you so much. Exactly. I just, I'm so passionate about this thought management, because it has single-handedly changed my life. I still sometimes honestly struggle with it. It's easy to feel victimized, especially if someone else is being preferred over you, or if you feel like you're the right person for the job, but that's not what the perception is. And you have a choice there to say, oh my God, no one values me, so I must be worthless. Or, okay, at this moment, no one values me, but I value myself. And what can I do with the skills that I have? Can I change my situation, or can I change my perspective?
You can never change the circumstance, but thoughts are choices. You can change how you think, and that will change your feelings and your behavior. So you're dead on. Great. I love that you've already garnished all this, great experience that you've had. So should we pick up the conversation like in a week and talk about self-sabotage at work and how it plays out?
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to us. I hope you enjoy Sirat and I bantering about how we've tackled managing our careers and our jobs.